Hello, welcome back. So we're going to continue from where we stopped with our calculator app. And I'm first going to run this so we can know what we have done and just continue from there. So I'll run this program. So I'll enter the first number. So let's do 1. Enter the operator. And let's enter the second number. And we go back to the beginning that says enter the first number or type quit or exit. So I'm going to type quit. Alright, let's continue from where we stopped. We stopped at the point where we have to account for the operator that I was choosing and perform the math. So I'm going to make the stage smaller so we have more space and zoom in a bit. So I'm going to remove this print first input here. Let's get rid of it. And let's start with the if statement. Let's start with a comment here that says evaluate the choosing operator and perform the math. And we're going to say if operator. So let's start with addition equals to plus, then we want to say num1 plus num2, right? But we need to assign a variable to this. So I'm going to call the variable result, and let's quickly print results outside here. Let's say print result. So in Python, we don't always have to declare the variable on a global scope like we have operator here. We can do that inside an if statement and still get the value of that variable outside the if statement. Let's try if it works. So I'm going to run the program. So now we can only do addition, num1 plus num2. So I'm going to put addition for operator. So let's say 1 plus 2, and down here you can see we are getting 3.0, and we can get rid of that point. The reason is because we are using a float here, right? So we can get rid of that or leave it as it is. Let's account for the other operators. Let's type quit. Alright, now let's account for subtraction. So let's say Elif operator equals to minus, then we want to set result equals to num1 minus num2. Now let's move to multiplication. Elif operator equals to multiplication result equals to num1 times num2, and Elif operator equals to division. We want to say result equals to num1 divided by num2. And we're already printing the results out here, but we don't just want to print results just like that. We want to actually give them a message that contains the math and the value. So I'm going to create another variable here, and we are going to remove this print statement here. Instead, let's say output message. Let's call this output message, and I want to join a lot of variables into a string. In Python, the easiest way to do that is to use something called f string. So put an f like this and double quotes, and then any variable we want to put inside the string, we just use curly brackets around it. let's say num1 and let's say operator. When I'm done, you get the idea of doing this. And let's say num2 again, and let's say equals to one more curly bracket, and let's say result. Now we need to print output message. So this is going to say something like 1 plus 2 equals to 3, right? Let's not just print it, let's also do something like, yeah, we want to say sprite.say, right? Output message, and let's keep it on the screen for 5 seconds. So if I run this program, let's do, I've already tried additions, let's do subtractions. Let's say 3 minus 2, and we'll get 3 minus 2 equals to 1, right? So now let's do for multiplication. Let's say 3 times 4. I'll get 3 times 4 equals to 12. Now let's do for division. Let's say 3, let's do 6, something quite simple, divided by 2, and we get 3. So let me make this bigger so that you can see it clearly, right? So I want to do divide again, and this time I'm going to divide by 0, and the program is going to crash. I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so now let's say 3 divided by 0, and the program crashes. It says fail to execute main script due to unhandled exception, 0 division error. So 0 division error is a type of error, so we need to handle that. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to nest an if statement inside this elif for device. So we are going to say if num2 equals to 0, then we are going to say sprite.say, and let's say something like error cannot divide by 0, and let's put this on the screen. So let me make this smaller so you can see what I'm typing. Let's put this on the screen for as long as 3 seconds, and then we can just say else here at the bottom. Else we want to set result to num1 divided by num2. Something else we need to do is that we need to handle unrecognized operator. So the way I'm going to do it is that I'm just going to say else. So you want to take note of the way I'm nesting these conditionals. Let's just say else here and say unrecognized operator. Then we want to say sprite.say, and we are going to say invalid operator. Let's tell them what to use. Let's say use plus, minus, multiplication, or division, and let's keep it on the screen for 3 seconds. And every other places where I'm doing sprite.say where I'm using 2 seconds, I'm going to change it to 3 because I think it's too short, right? So now let's make this bigger again, and I'm going to run it. So when I click on run, and we are getting an error. So the error is coming from line 45. So if you check line 45, you can see the error we are making. We're supposed to have double equals to here because we're comparing a value, right? Now let's run that again and everything should work fine. Alright, so let's do divide again. Now let's do 6 divided by, let's do 0, and we get a nice error message that says cannot divide by 0, right? Alright, so now let's run this again, and this time what I'm going to do is that I'm going to intentionally put in an invalid operator so we test if this works. So I'm going to run the program. Let's say 3, and let's put and here to mean multiplication, and let's say 5, and get invalid operator, use plus. Alright, so one more thing, when we do sprite.say right here for invalid operator, we want to continue the program so it does not stop, so we say continue here, right? So now let's run that again and try it. Alright, so I say 3 and let's say 5, and it says invalid operator, use plus, and it starts again, right? So the program is essentially running well. And I also noticed that we also need to add continue here, right? So let's add continue here, because I noticed that the program stopped and the error was still printing down here. To resolve that, we just need to add continue here. So when we print the error message, the program does not stop, it continues. So I'm going to just quit. Let's run it one more time. Stop, and we run, so we can test the divide error to see if it works, and just test everything all over again one more time. Let's say 6, I don't know why I like using 6, divided by 0, get error, cannot divide by 0, and the program continues. So notice we no longer get that error on the log here, right? So now let's do 3 divided by 6, and get 3.0 divided by 6 equals to 0.5. So one more question, what if we don't want decimal number, right? Let's say we don't want decimal number. It's easy, we can just change this float to int, or we can convert the answer itself, but I'm going to leave that to you for you to explore it, and let me know what you came up with in the comment section. So this is the end of our calculator app. In the next video, we're going to talk about try and catch in depth, so get a more understanding on it, because it's a very important concept in Python, right? Before you leave, I want you to click on the like button, click on the subscribe button, and share this video with a friend who is interested in any programming, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.